Welcome to White Plains High School and our fourth annual induction event for the White Plains High School Athletics Hall of Fame. My name is Chuck Stogel. I will be your MC for a portion of tonight's proceedings. I'm a graduate of White Plains High School, class of 1964, and the current president of our Sports Hall of Fame. A request as we begin, if you would, if you have cell phones, mobile devices, please rig them for silent running. And before I continue with a few brief welcome announcements, I would like to ask everyone to please rise as we honor America with the singing of our national anthem. Tonight, the Star-Spangled Banner will be sung by White Plains High School junior class student Marley Reinmuth. Marley?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
If you look at page 2 in your printed programs, you'll see a list of our committee members for the Sports Hall of Fame. This is a select group of dedicated and hardworking volunteers representing a diversity of backgrounds and job titles. Without too much fanfare, let me just give a shout out to those on our committee here behind me on the left. They comprise our Vice President, John Donahoe, the Recording Secretary, Nick Panaro, our Treasurer, Sue Adams, and quickly, Don Gano, Patty Gilmartin, Fred Singleton, the one and only Dan Woodard, our Athletic Director, Matt Cameron, and our high school principal, Ellen Doherty. Thanks, everybody. White Plains High School has sponsored sports at 3 different campuses within the city of White Plains for 124 years now. Over that period of time, the school has had more than a few absolutely outstanding athletes and coaches and administrators. In the years prior to 2014, a committee was working to create and launch an Athletics Hall of Fame here at White Plains High School. The goal, of course, was to create a forum where we can recognize and salute our most outstanding student athletes, coaches, administrators, and others who have contributed so significantly to our 124-year Tigers tradition. With the blessing of the White Plains Board of Education and the administration here at the high school, the goal of a Sports Hall of Fame became a reality with our first induction event in November 2015. Tonight, we honor 13 outstanding individuals whose names are linked indelibly with White Plains High School. Eventually, and it won't be too long, I'm sure, we plan to establish a permanent display area within our gym building to honor their legacies forever. Overall, including tonight, we have honored 60 individuals representing 63 separate inductions from among the thousands and thousands who have been part of the White Plains Tigers family. For those who may be interested in nominating someone for our Sports Hall of Fame, there is a brief synopsis of our guidelines on page 4 in your program, along with a nomination form on pages 27 to 29. Both of those are also on the high school's athletics website. As we move along, one important reminder: having a Sports Hall of Fame, honoring individuals with plaques and programs, and a permanent display takes a little bit of money. I'm not going to say really much more about that at this time. If you get a chance, you can check out page 4 in the program. You'll find a form that you can use to send in a tax-deductible donation to sustain the Hall of Fame. Also, if you're interested, the Hall of Fame inductions this evening are being videotaped for the school district's educational channel and online. All 3 of our past years, to 15, 16, and 17, are available on the school website, and you can see the URL on page 2 in the program. At this time, I'd like to introduce just a few, but very important individuals for some brief words of welcome and acknowledgement. First, would you please welcome the president of our school board, Rosemarie Eller.
Thank you and good evening. First off, on behalf of the White Plains Board of Education, I want to congratulate all of the inductees tonight. Before I make very brief comments, I'd like to ask any members of the cabinet just to please stand and wave. I think I saw members of the cabinet here earlier. Yep, they're in the back. Thank you. I wanted to come tonight as a former athlete that enjoyed what I thought was a great career. I now know what a great career is because I've seen it at White Plains. I've seen the history and tradition of athletics at this school, and it is outstanding. A testament to the outstanding athletic program is in this room, and it's all of you that have come to support the program and continue to support the program. For that, on behalf of the Board of Education, I thank you and congratulations to everyone. Good night.
Here now is our high school principal, Ellen Doherty.
Good evening, everybody. It's really my pleasure to welcome you, and many of you to welcome you back to White Plains High School this evening on behalf of the students, faculty, and staff of the high school. I don't have to tell you what an extraordinary place this is, but I do have to give a shout out to the current students of White Plains High School because they're really extraordinary, and they know that the inductees here tonight and so many others who came before them cleared a path for them to do the extraordinary things that they're able to do. And whether you know it or not, they know that they stand on your shoulders and they walk by your photographs every day and they feel privileged to follow in your footsteps. So congratulations to the inductees tonight, and thank you for coming back to your high school.
Thank you. Next, we are so pleased to welcome the Mayor of the City of White Plains, the Honorable Tom Roach.
Thank you, and it's my pleasure to be with you tonight. I see so many familiar faces and connected to so many of the honorees here tonight. Charles Morgan's here on behalf of Dennis. The whole Adams family is basically being honored, and we have Judge Hansberry and Brian. And so congratulations to all of you. We've had a great tradition here in this city of sports. It goes on, continues to go on. We had a great year with the football team this year. There was a great girls swim meet result yesterday, but Kim, about that 50 free. So it is, time marches on. But the traditions are carried on. You all established these traditions, and so we are all the beneficiary of that today. So thank you all for being here. Congratulations. And I have a proclamation to present. I, Thomas M. Roach, I want to thank all the volunteers who made this happen, because this is an important honor for people to receive, and it takes volunteers to put it together, make it happen. And I know Chuck is a big, the voice of, I was going to say White Plains football, the voice of every White Plains sport, Chuck Stogel. I, Thomas M. Roach, Mayor of the City of White Plains, do hereby proclaim November 2nd, 2018 as White Plains High School Athletics Hall of Fame Induction Day in the City of White Plains. So again, congratulations. You make us proud.
And just one more quick speaker. The president of the Tiger Fans Committee and a member of our Sports Hall of Fame Committee, John Donahoe. John?
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Just a note about that. I follow a long footsteps of great chairman of this committee, Doc Morano, Dick Gardella, Dan Woodard, Harry Jefferson. But anyway, our cause, for you that don't know, is to support the high school football team end-of-year dinner. This is the first year that it will not be held at the Crown Plaza in White Plains. We're going to hold it here next month, December 4th. Being there's no Thanksgiving Day game, which was our big way of gaining funds to support the dinner, we're going to do a season journal highlighting all 22 seniors that were on the team. So with that said, I'm going to leave some forms here for anybody that may want to dedicate a quarter page, a half page, or a full page to an individual player or team or coach. The forms will be left over there. With that said, I'm so proud of all the inductees. 4 of them I coached, 1 female, 3 males. 1 I played with, 1 I played against. But 3 I'm really proud of. For those of you who don't know, I served this city for 33 years on the fire department. One of the gentlemen that's being honored tonight is in the training academy for that. His father happens to be a city court judge. The second one, and this will be announced later, works for the state. I coached him when he was young. He's a correction officer. But the most important one does service to our country. He graduated from West Point. So I'd like to applaud those 3 that are giving back to the city, to the state, and to our country, and they're graduates of this great high school. I'd like to congratulate them. Thank you, Chuck.
Just want to quickly recognize a few special people who are here in the audience. I want to thank them for making this occasion extra special by coming and joining us. And they are past honorees, and I think I saw them coming in, so I hope I got everybody. From the class of 2016, if you just would stand at your seat, please. Brant Winterstein. From the class of 2016, Manson Donahue. From the class of 2017, Dick Gardella. And from the class of 2017, John Mesmer. And did I miss anybody? Good. One individual who could not be here this evening, Westchester County Legislator Ben Boykin, whose daughter Nicole was inducted into our Sports Hall of Fame in 2015. Mr. Boykin has provided a proclamation on behalf of the County of Westchester, and he has also sent over certificates which will be presented to each of our honorees. Additionally, tomorrow, the large electronic display board in front of the County Center building will pay tribute to White Plains High School and our Athletics Hall of Fame on the display board throughout the day on Saturday. And in addition to the plaques they will be receiving this evening and the County of Westchester proclamation, each honoree will also be receiving an individual proclamation from the City of White Plains. I want to thank all those who participated in helping to make that happen. And now for the induction class of 2018, we have two presenters who will carry us through the balance of the induction program. The presenters are Fred Singleton and Nick Panaro from our Sports Hall of Fame Committee. To begin with the 2018 inductions, here now is Fred Singleton.
Good evening, everybody. Come on, this is a group activity. Our first inductee is Kim Adams from the class of 2007, swimmer and great basketball player. 5 years of swimming and basketball on varsity, daughter of the soon-to-be Hall of Famer Sue Adams. Kim holds school swim records for 50 and 100 freestyle, 100 backstroke. 2 times Section 1 champ in the 50 free, 1 time 100 free sectional title. Multiple placings in Section 1 and New York State swim meets. She's a Con Ed Award winner, 3 times Journal News All-Star. Prolific basketball scorer, 1,000 career points, more than 1,000 career points, averaging 17.1 points per game, 8.2 rebounds as a senior. 3 times All Section 1 pick, 2007 Journal News Player of the Year. 3 Section 1 titles, 2005, 6, and 7. 2 times New York State runner-up in 2005 and 6. 2-year Penn varsity basketball, number 2 all-time Ivy League single season 3-pointer average of 56.3. And now in 2018, she is inducted into the White Plains Athletic Hall of Fame, Kim Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Singleton, for that introduction. And first, I just wanted to thank my swim coach, Patty Gilmartin, who is the one who nominated me for this. And also thank you to the committee for selecting me as a member of this year's class. Congratulations to all the inductees. I look forward to hearing about all your accomplishments tonight. This is truly an incredible honor and definitely the most special and meaningful accolade I've received to date, considering how proud I am to be from White Plains and to be a graduate of White Plains High School. In the weeks and days leading up to tonight, I've been reflecting on my time as a White Plains High School student athlete, and it quickly became evident that my days representing the Tigers, whether in the pool or on the court, remain the best sports experiences and memories of my life. I went on to compete at the NCAA Division I level, but it didn't compare to my experiences here at White Plains. I was fortunate enough to be part of 2 sports programs that were characterized by coaches who cared about you as a person and not just as their athlete, by teammates who truly became family, and programs where you could look up in the stands after winning a championship and see the entire city supporting you. I'll start with a few notes on swimming. I came to the team as an 8th grader. I was definitely nervous. I didn't really know anyone. Coach Patty was definitely a little bit scary. But fast forward 5 years to my final state championship meet in Buffalo, and it ended up being one of the most positive experiences in my life. Above all, I thought it really helped shape me into the leader that I am today, because I realized how much the girls look up to me and respected me as a swimmer. And swimming's a little bit different in this area. Unlike other sports, most of the top swimmers compete exclusively for their year-round club teams and just show up at their high school meets. But for me, it was the exact opposite. I loved representing my school. I loved being at practice and every single meet with all my teammates, and just want to thank those teammates as well. I wanted to thank our assistant coach, Rebecca Fahey, who I don't think is here tonight, but just so incredibly knowledgeable about swimming and just an endearing, positive person who we loved being around. Coach Patty Gilmartin was simply the best. She had and still has that perfect balance of keeping things fun and constantly making you laugh, but also bringing out your desire to want to compete and succeed at the highest level. Lucky for me, Coach Patty was also one of the Section 1 state championship team coaches. Most years, I was the only swimmer from White Plains on the team, so it was always great to have that familiar support system on the deck or just someone to bother on the 8-hour bus ride up to Buffalo. So thank you, Coach Patty, for all you did for me and for all you continue to do for the student athletes. And that brings me to basketball, which when I reflect on it, it still seems like a surreal experience sometimes. The story of our program is truly something you see in sports movies. Sue Adams and Debbie Flukes quite simply built a dynasty, and I'm so fortunate to have been a part of those teams. When I try to describe how much of an impact that program had on my life, I guess I would say if I was given the chance to go back and relive one memory in the past, it would be to put on that number 12 orange and black jersey and step onto the county center floor with my teammates and play one more game. The memory of injuring my shoulder in the state tournament senior year, which prematurely ended my career, still feels fresh and is something that I'll never fully get over, because I'm confident that we would have won the state championship that year after coming up just short the previous 2 years. There are so many people to thank who made our program what it was. Former Mayor Joe Delfino, former Superintendent Tim Connors, and White Plains High School Athletic Directors Mario Scarano, who's here tonight, and Nick Pinero. And then all of the teachers and staff at White Plains High School. They bought into the success of our program and made sure we had the full support of the school and city every step of the way. And then we had a bunch of people, Liz Clark, who's here tonight, just scouting, bringing us great good luck cookies before every game. John Lacazio is here tonight, took incredible photos that we still look back on all the time. I wanted to thank our athletic trainer, Mike Mirabella, who I was in his office a lot with injuries, and it was rare to have somebody of that magnitude at the high school level. The fans, we had the best support system that a high school team could ask for. Every night we were playing in packed gyms, face paint, body paint, pep rally send-offs to the state tournament, fan buses up to the Final Four. Thank you all so much for your unwavering support. My teammates, we had people of all races, backgrounds, and walks of life, and we truly became a family on and off the court. We completely bought into the vision our coaches had, put any individual motives aside, and because of that, found ultimate success and have memories that we will be talking about for the rest of our lives. It was an honor to play alongside each of them and to watch them grow as players and individuals. Thank you for pushing me to become a better player, communicator, and leader, and for 3 gold balls. A special thank you to my teammate and best friend since the age of 6, Liz Flukes, number 31, who couldn't make it tonight because she is chasing her coaching dreams at Army right now. But she's been through the highest of highs and the lowest of lows with me, and I wouldn't have wanted anyone else by my side. Our coaches, Sue Adams and Debbie Flukes, they went way beyond their job descriptions, whether off-season workouts, creating our own AAU program, fundraising for a team, tournament in Disney World, or watching hours and hours of film after the games. They transformed us into champions in every sense of the word. Their basketball and X's and O's knowledge was off the charts, but it was how they pushed us mentally, physically, and truly taught us the meaning of a team that made us such an elite program. They were the best basketball coaches I ever had. Thank you. And finally, my family. As you already heard, Sue Adams, who I already thanked as a coach, is my mom. And what a special opportunity it was to go through that journey with your mom by your side. And she's going to be honored next, so even more special night tonight. So thank you to her, my dad, Bob, who's here, my younger brothers, Ryan and Kyle, for your incredible support throughout my entire athletic career. You gave me the freedom to chase whatever I wanted to do, yet also held me accountable and helped me realize the work that was required to achieve the aspirations I had. Everything I have achieved and the person I've become today is all because I grew up in the Adams family. Thank you to all my extended family and friends who are here tonight, including my grandma Betty up from Florida. She has been a great friend to me and usually the first person I call when I'm feeling frustrated about something. My Aunt Betsy, Uncle Ted, newest addition Meg to our family, thank you for coming. And my grandma and grandpa came to my last high school state championship meet in Buffalo. So that's one of the most special moments of my athletic career. So thank you again. Thank you all for coming and making this such a meaningful night. And I look forward to continuing to support the city of White Plains and White Plains High School.
I get to introduce Kim's mother. Sue O'Gorman Adams, class of 1978, going in for 3 sports that she participated in high school, and also her outstanding coaching career here at White Plains. As I mentioned before, she was a 3-sport athlete while in high school, basketball, tennis, and swimming, but basketball was her main event. She was a standout player. She made All-League, All-County, and All-American. I believe we still have the John Ebersol Award that's given out to the most outstanding female athlete, and she won that as a senior. She coached varsity basketball for 11 years. She is still coaching the girls' tennis team. She coached the White Plains High School team to 4 straight Section 1 titles, 2005 through 2008. 2 times that her teams were runner-ups, 2005 and 2006. 2005, it was on a last-second buzzer beater. And as Kim had already said, 2006, she was injured. But if she was able to play, they probably would have won that. She was 4-time Conference Coach of the Year and 1-time New York State Coach of the Year. I am extremely honored to present Sue Adams for induction into the White Plains Athletics Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Nick, so much. The one thing I'd like to bring up, I thought as a little perk of being on the committee, I could get an updated photo. And I spoke with Fred about that, but Fred is tough, and he's like, no, protocol, we are not switching it for you. So I tried. Kim, you're a tough act to follow. That was pretty rough putting me second, so Kim, you did a great job. First and foremost, I'm humbled to be receiving this award, and I thank the committee for this wonderful honor. To all my fellow inductees, I am proud to be a classmate of yours in the class of 2018, and I congratulate you on all of your accomplishments. To my daughter, Kim, the opportunity to share this night with you is incredibly special, and I am so proud of you and all you have achieved. When I contemplated what to say tonight, the word that continually resounded in my mind and heart was grateful. There are so many people here tonight who have had a profound impact upon my life and have guided me along the journey to where I stand today. My time as a White Plains High School student, educator, and coach in this district spans over 35 years. Let me tell you, folks, nobody sticks around here that long unless they truly find fulfillment in what they are doing. As one of 5 children growing up in White Plains, my dad worked extremely hard to send us all to Catholic school. My elementary school years were tremendous, but my first year of Catholic high school was not. The building was old, I was tired of wearing uniforms, and I had no desire to go to school 4 more years with all girls. I decided I was ready to go public, and that White Plains High School was the place for me. My mom, Betty O.G., over here, and my dad, Big Ed, up there, we're not in agreement about me going public. Oh, I begged and begged for months, and I was a sassy 13-year-old girl, until finally one day my mom agreed to set up an appointment for both of us to check out this school. Mom, thank you so much for taking me that day. I know as a parent it wasn't what you thought was best for me at that time, but it truly was a life-changing moment. The funny thing is, when we went to the appointment, we met with an assistant principal named Dan Woodard. Oh baby, let me tell you, he was tough, intimidating, and downright scary. When we left the meeting, I was so afraid of Mr. Woodard, I wasn't sure I wanted to go to the high school anymore. I told my mom I had reservations about transferring, but her tune had changed 100%. Oh no, she said, I love that Mr. Woodard. He runs a tight ship. This is definitely the place for you. You're enrolled. So Mr. Woodard, thank you, not for scaring the heck out of me, but for convincing my mom this was the place for me. My 3 years at White Plains High School were some of the greatest years of my life. Knowing virtually no one, it was a lonely place to start, to say the least. But I quickly learned that if you excelled in athletics, friends came easily. I was fortunate to be in an outstanding class where academics and athletics ruled the day. We supported each other and truly cared about the well-beings of our classmates. Being a Tiger was a source of pride, and that pride still carries on with the many close friendships I still embrace today. My love of basketball led me to meet that one teacher who had the greatest impact on me during my high school years. Someone who was always there for me, encouraging, supporting, and caring. And that, my friends, was my basketball coach and phys ed teacher, Joanna Bird Wright. But like those very popular one-name stars like Beyonce and Madonna, she was just famously known as Bird. Bird, it is an honor that you are here tonight, and a mere thank you does not seem fitting. The influence and impact you had upon my life is apparent, and I am so appreciative to have had such an extraordinary mentor in my life. Having said that, there was never really any question in my mind what I wanted to do with my life. Returning to my roots in hopes of giving others the experiences and opportunities I was afforded was my dream. And yes, sometimes dreams do come true. Teaching has been extremely rewarding, but coaching, specifically coaching basketball, has been the most gratifying. I'm indebted to Mario Scarano, who gave me the opportunity to take over the head coaching position. He saw the vision I had for the program, he listened, and he sensed my passion. Together, we were able to make some wonderful advancements in the girls' basketball program. Coach Mayfield, we made a great team. We commiserated, we celebrated, and we collaborated. You made me a better coach, and you too were a great mentor to me. The sacrifices and demands of the job and the effect it often had on our families were difficult. The willingness to accommodate each other and the respect you had for our program made it a tremendous work environment, and for that I am so appreciative. Don't get nervous when I say this. In 1983, like I'm not going to go through every year, so don't worry. In 1983, I began my coaching career as a rookie JV coach. With each passing year, my eagerness to have an impact upon student athletes only continued to grow. Fast forward to 2005, after endless hours of practice, never-ending film session, and a lot of team bonding, all the hard work and dedication finally began to pay off. The 4 years between 2005 and 2008, where we won an unprecedented 4 consecutive AA championships at the county center, were amazing. We were Eastern Regional champions, and we made 2 trips to the New York State Championship title game. The tremendous success of our program was shared by the entire White Plains community. It was an indescribable feeling and something I never expected to experience. As the expression goes, it takes a village, and there are so many people to thank. Liz Clark, the Big Whistle, John Lacazio, Laura Owen, and Bill Flukes, who did everything and anything, including washing our uniforms, picking up players late for practice, and giving them the sound advice to just start running when they entered the gym. We would have never attained the level we did without the greatest assistant coach, Debbie Flukes. Together, we were able to bring the program to new heights. Her willingness to constantly go the extra mile allowed us to accomplish some incredible feats. Her knowledge and insightfulness were invaluable to our success, and none of this would have been possible without her. It was a privilege to coach the many players who were a part of something special. The trophies, the championships, and the accolades were all memorable. But seeing these girls go off to college, knowing I helped play a part to get them to the next level, was the most satisfying element of my job. Finally, and most importantly, my family. My mom, my sister Betsy, my brother Ted, and my daughter-in-law Meg. Thank you so much for being here tonight and for being there whenever I needed you. Your support, whether in the stands or behind the scenes, was greatly appreciated. To Kim, Ryan, and Kyle, you are my pride and joy. Your patience, encouragement, and understanding when there was pizza for dinner 3 nights in a row, or I had to miss your game because I had a game, gave me great comfort. Your excitement for what we were accomplishing was contagious, and it was tremendous to share it as a family. As one of the wisest basketball coaches, John Wooden, once said, the most important thing in the world is family and love, and I couldn't agree more. Which brings me to Bob, who is the backbone of our family and my greatest fan. Thank you for always believing in me, for encouraging me when I didn't think I could juggle it all, and for always having my back. Your knowledge, your ability to teach, and your love of the game were instrumental in everything we accomplished. I started this speech by saying you don't stick around doing something for 35 years if you don't find fulfillment in it. Well, I'm going to end it by saying I'm glad, Bob Adams, I've stuck around with you for 32 years because you are my rock. Thank you, everybody.
Dominic James Monk DiPaolo, class of 1931. Football, basketball, baseball. 3-sport starter on Tigers varsity teams. Yes, he was. I thought I had an argument there. Scored 2 touchdowns in 1929 as junior, 5 touchdowns, that's 4 receiving, 1 interception in 1930. Played for Hall of Fame coach Len Walters, 6-2 in 1929, undefeated in 1930. Scored 174 points, an average of 10.6 in basketball as a junior, and averaged 7.7 as a senior. Set single game Tigers scoring record in basketball, broken by his son Jim 19 years later. Turned down Notre Dame football offer, played semi-pro for the New Jersey Bears. Worked for U.S. Postal Service and for Yonkers Raceway. Later, worked at DiPaolo's Dugout, family-owned restaurant on Post Road in White Plains. Monk was inducted into the Westchester Sports Hall of Fame in 1979, and here in 2018, he is inducted into the White Plains High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Accepting for Monk are his 2 daughters, from Katona, Kathy DiPaolo Myers, and up from Florida, his daughter Annie DiPaolo Zambrano. Ladies, please come on up.
I'm Kathy. This is Annie. Our father, James Monk DiPaolo, grew up on Chatterton Avenue in White Plains. His parents came from Bari, Italy, and he had 8 siblings, 6 sisters and 1 brother. He loved athletics. Unfortunately, his father thought he should be a violin player, and that was not going to happen. We as a family were very proud of him. His accomplishments here in White Plains under the coaching staff drove him to be the very, very best he could in 3 sports. His coach, Len Waters, said DiPaolo was one of the toughest young performers he had ever tutored. He did letter in the football, baseball, and basketball, and as a matter of fact, he set the record at that time, which was just told to you, and my brother Jimmy did break it, which we all thought was pretty cool. After graduation, my father married the love of his life, my mother, Agnes. They celebrated 60 years of marriage together and had 7 children, 5 boys and 2 girls. He enlisted in the Marine Corps in World War II and was commissioned to Okinawa to fight for our great country. Our mother was at home with 3 boys and another one on the way, me. They lived through the Depression, and with much sacrifice, hard work, and true grit, they got through all those hard times together. Unfortunately, we experienced the passing of our younger brother, Billy, who was tragically hit by an automobile at the age of 4. It was already stated that he worked for the post office and Yonkers, so and Vince Lombardi. So I will let my sister talk about our father with the restaurant.
We didn't. I'm going to pick it up here.
He already stated it.
He was captain of the undefeated White Plains High School in 1930 and 1931. and led the team against the Florida All-Star aggregation. He turned down a scholarship from Newt Rockne to Notre Dame. He went on to play for the New Jersey Bears in the American Association Pro Circuit, where the Giants had a working agreement. I believe they were known as the 7 Blocks of Granite, in which Vince Lombardo played. As player and coach for the White Plains Vets basketball team, they enjoyed 55 wins in 56 games. The Monk, as he was called, because he had very long arms for his height, was founder and chairman of the 1930 and 1931 White Plains High School alumni football team. They got together for meetings each winter and for outings in the spring. Our father also was a very big part of the restaurant called DiPaolo's Dugout. The restaurant was opened by our brothers, Jim and Bob DiPaolo. Our dad worked there every day during his retirement from the post office. He was very instrumental in making it the success it was, as well as our mom, who worked so hard in the kitchen to turn out amazing food. It was a success for 22 years.
Through the years, our father had always made it a point to have my brothers involved in athletics. They played basketball and baseball as well as golf. My brother Jack was on the cover of Golf Digest as the longest ball hitter in the country in 1971. They all went on to be excellent athletes in their own right, and he was extremely proud of them. My brother Jim played pro ball for the Yankees as a pitcher, Bob for the Giants at second base, Jack for the Yankees in the outfield, and Rick competed in bodybuilding and won the Eastern Regional Bodybuilding Championship. My dad was so proud of his 4 sons and their athletic prowess. In his retirement years, he got to play a lot of golf and was so happy that my sister Annie and I took the game up. We enjoyed playing with him and his friends. He gave us great tips on the game. His attitude toward golf was something Annie and I cherish today. He never got mad and let us know that you can't play good golf if you let bad shots affect you.
Is that true, everyone who plays golf? Hit that crazy, wacky white ball. Our father was a terrific grandfather, as he went to all of his grandchildren's sporting events, as my son Justin could vouch for, cheering them on and critiquing them. At times, they didn't like what he had to say, but loved him and respected his opinion. Thank you for inducting our father, as we know he would be so honored and filled with pride that his alma mater would bestow this award to him. He truly loved White Plains High School and was so proud to be an alumni. We congratulate all of the other inductees tonight, and we know that each one of the families are so proud, and as we are, of our father's accomplishments. Let us leave you with one of our father's favorite toasts. May you live forever and I never die. Cheers.
God bless you all, and God bless White Plains High School for giving him the great life as an athlete that he so loved.
Thank you.
Our next inductee is William Bill Drummond, class of 1964, for football and basketball. In football, he played tight end, linebacker, and defensive end. In 1963, his senior year, he was named All-County Honorable Mention and All-Herald Tribune. As a junior, he was second in basketball scoring behind Mal Graham. Now you might say, well, he was only second. Well, those of you who don't know Mal Graham, who was inducted in our first Hall of Fame class in 2015, he played for the Boston Celtics and won 2 NBA championships. So coming second to Mal Graham is nothing to sneeze at. As a senior, with Mal gone, he led White Plains basketball in scoring. He played football and basketball at Williams College. He was co-captain of the undefeated football team at Williams, which was coached by another Hall of Famer, Frank Navarro. As a senior at Williams, he averaged 22 points a game and was named All-ECAC First Team. He had NFL tryouts with Dallas, Washington, and the New York Jets. I am honored to present Bill Drummond for induction into the White Plains Athletics Hall of Fame.
Anybody who's played sports, and it's probably most of the people out here who's had a passion for sports like I had, as you age a little bit, some of those things come back to haunt you a little bit. And people ask me, well, would you do it again? Absolutely. So I just, not too long ago, a couple of years ago, I turned 70, and I was wondering about birthdays, and when you see a birthday cake of a person who's over in that kind of age category, or even some of those of us who are older than that, you often see only one candle. So what's up with that? I thought about that a lot. You know, when you were a kid, you had one for every year you were celebrating, and I came to the conclusion that it might be a fire hazard, and then I talked to John here, and he said, no, it's probably not that. We can handle those fires. But maybe it was that it would be difficult to blow them out. People had some trouble with that. But then I concluded it was really more of an economic issues. When you get to be this old, candles cost more than the cake. Okay. I wish to thank the committee for, as everybody else will. There'll be some common threads, but I'll try to cut through them. First of all, a few months ago, I was truly surprised to learn that I was being considered. And today, I'm absolutely humbled to be among the 2018 inductees. I also thank the members of my family who traveled quite a ways to come here, particularly my wife of nearly 50 years, and she keeps reminding me, it's not 50 years yet, so behave. And my daughter and my granddaughter and grandson are here also from Virginia, which was nice of them to come. So many of the past and present inductees have had such amazing individual accomplishments. All of my athletic efforts have always involved being a part of a team, and any recognition of an athlete's individual success must ultimately be viewed through the spectrum of the team and teammates, and how they interact and how they perform together. I was so very fortunate to play all my athletic sports with excellent athletes who were also outstanding team members. There is also little doubt that a team's success is also dependent on the effectiveness of their coaches. Again, I was very fortunate in that category as well, to have been coached by men who themselves, who once were great athletes, and then became outstanding coaches. Now, before mentioning a few names of teammates and coaches, I would be remiss if I didn't just take a quick moment to give thanks to my parents who are here in spirit today. I thank my father, Al Drummond, who persuaded my mother, Ann Drummond, who was a former nurse, to allow me to play contact sports, and also for putting up a basketball hoop in our driveway. No simple task. I thank my mother for allowing me to give up piano lessons and playing in a school band, for which I didn't really have a passion for. I had a passion for sports. I also thank her for making all those apologies to our White Plains neighbors for me endlessly bouncing the basketball. I wish to recognize and thank the following teammates, some of whom are also here in spirit today, having passed on, but have been previously inducted into the Hall of Fame. It was just mentioned about Mal Graham. He was a superb basketball player, team player, and led our White Plains team in every statistics. Mal went on to be the #1 national scorer for D1 schools his senior year at NYU. Mal was drafted by the Celtics and, as mentioned, played for several years. My memory, one of the greatest memories I have is playing with Mal, and for some reason we went up to Linton High School in upstate New York, and I found out there that there was a guy there whose name was Pat Riley, and it was a showdown between Mal Graham and Pat Riley. And I was fortunate enough to be on that team playing, and I was a supporting role, of course. And the two of them were just incredible. Mal Graham scoring probably 25, 30 points, and Riley matching him, and they would score. In the end, Mal fouled out because he was guarding Pat Riley. And then Coach Folden put in a guard, he fouled out, another guard, he fouled out. And in the end, he said, "Drummond, you're playing forward, get up there and guard Riley." Well, so the story is thankfully the game ended before I hurt Pat Riley, because I was all over him, and he was on that foul line all night. But my story goes that when I see the game and then watching with my son later on when Pat Riley was famous coach of the Lakers, I said, I played against that guy at White Plains High School when I was at White Plains High School. And my son, who I was coaching in rec league, said, "Well, how'd you do?" I said, "Well, I held him under 35 points." I wish to thank, besides Mal Graham, we have Aaron Hopkins, who is another member of the Hall of Fame. And Aaron was very special. He had Michael Jordan-like jumping skills. He was able to, from a standing position, do a reverse dunk and behind his head. He could also take off not far from the foul line and seemingly fly to the basket and finish with a Jordan-like one-hand dunk, all the way from near the foul line. He literally played the game above the rim. In college, his senior year, he was the national triple jump champion. And this was the quality of players that we had. And Aaron, who is no longer with us as well, was just a special guy. And I was just thrilled to be able to play basketball with him. Davey Jackson, another member of the Hall of Fame here, had incredible speed, played football, basketball, and track. He excelled in all, and Dave was one of the four of the White Plains relay team that set the time records at the National Penn Relay events. Dave was incredibly versatile, quietly led by example, and was also a great teammate. Bruce Weinstein. Bruce was big, strong, fast, and could catch the football. My senior year, Bruce's junior year, we both played as tight ends in what was then kind of an innovative offense, implemented by Dean Laux, Harry Jefferson, and also we had Coach Winterstein and Coach Perry were at that time as well. We played both defensive ends on opposite sides of the line. Bruce played on and went on to play at Yale on one of their finest teams, one of the co-captains with Calvin Hill, the great Calvin Hill, Brian Dowling, and led their team to an undefeated 1968 season. Bruce was drafted by the Miami Dolphins, then spent some time training to be a professional boxer, and also did some high-level car racing, and was then subsequently a very successful business person. It is my honor to have played both football and basketball with the quality athletes that White Plains produced, and coached by great coaches. At the risk of leaving many out, I'm just have to name a few more that aren't in the Hall of Fame, but were very instrumental in the teams that I played on. Football, Julius Dubois. He was the only senior on our junior year team, which was a rebuilding year, and he kept us together. And you know, when you get on a team that doesn't always win, and it's a rebuilding year, there's two ways you can go. You can go south or you can go north. He kept us, and we finally went north. Tommy McWinney, quarterback. Three cousins, Mikey Belmont, Jojo Compatello, Bob Ercolani. Jojo went on to be a star at Duke University. Mike and Bob played in their senior year in college at North Dakota State. They won the Division III championship. In basketball, Joe Bullock, another great guy and a terrific athlete. Marvin Lewis was like a mini Shaq. When he got out of White Plains High School, he was on a team where he led the country in rebounding. Agus Corley, Gene McKenna, who was a baseball player as well as basketball, threw over 90 miles an hour in baseball. And when he threw a ball to you in basketball, he either made you look really good or really bad. It came in so fast, it was hard to catch. So I had some good moments and some bad moments. Bobby Gressler was another basketball player who I played with all the way through 4th grade at Battle Hill High School, junior high, in the rec leagues, and then on the varsity team. Now, as far as the other coaches, Brant Winterstein, who is here, was an assistant coach along with Harry Jefferson, and also went on to coach that undefeated team a couple of years later in 1968. And I'm happy to say that my brother Greg was one of the co-captains of that team. So it was a great team, coach, and you did a wonderful job. Sorry you weren't right then and there where we were there, but I'm going to skip a story about Harry Jefferson. That there's so many stories about Harry Jefferson. We have a lot of people after us. Let's see. Harry did here 4 years after when I first met Harry. That's the story I skipped. Harry was my JV basketball coach, and subsequently as seniors our head basketball coach. And also Harry was an assistant coach with our varsity football team. From head coach Dean Laux, I learned that to win games, every player on the White Plains team had to work and prepare more than their opponents. Coach Laux insisted on maximum intensity of effort. If you thought you had already given 100%, wrong. He was able to extract another 10% from you or more from each of his players. But I also admire, but Harry Jefferson had a similar approach about working hard. And I think you'll see that's a common theme among any of the people that are going to be up here. How hard you have to work to excel. And in Harry's case, I admired the fact that he always was able to make the game fun. Harry's enthusiasm was contagious. The combined influence of all of these coaches together, they affected several generations of student athletes, and even upon other coaches who coached with them. They had a profound effect on the White Plains High School history of winning tradition, which you've already heard is amazing. One of my favorite walks while I was attending this very large and then basically brand new high school was just outside the school gym, where team pictures going back many decades were displayed. The year of the team for several sports and their records included with the pictures were on the walls. The various uniforms and equipment revealed the different eras of the teams. Seeing these old football teams with the players in their leather helmets, or some of the teams with very little or no modern face protection, the gritty smiles. Where's Dick Gardello? Dick, you still here? Anyway, Dick Gardello was probably one of those ones with not much protection, but blocking for the great Dean Laux and Harry Jefferson. It is most impressive to see how many undefeated White Plains High School teams that this school has had in its history going back the last 100+ years. One of my favorites was one of the early football teams whose record was, get this, undefeated, untied, and unscored upon. Can you imagine that? It is almost impossible to comprehend that a team could be so dominating that it could prevent all of its opponents in each and every game for an entire season from scoring points. Now, today's White Plains sports teams include, and the whole spectrum is football, basketball, track and field, cross country, soccer, baseball, tennis, swimming teams, ice hockey, lacrosse, volleyball, wrestling, field hockey, golf, and softball. We didn't have all those when we were playing, but they're there, and some of the athletes from these White Plains teams have gone on to succeed brilliantly in the Olympics, the NFL, the NBA, world stages, track and field, and many other arenas. White Plains has, I can't emphasize it enough, this truly inspirational athletic history. Viewed together, these collective, very impressive accomplishments are symbolic of the athletic lifeblood that has and continues to flow through the women and men who play sports at White Plains High School. And I am so very proud to have had just a very small part in this school's rich athletic history. Again, thank you to the committee.
One quick shout out. I know he's in the back of the room. Perhaps one of the busiest schedules for anyone in the city of White Plains. If you would just We'd like to acknowledge, welcome, and give a round of applause for the Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Joseph Ricca. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Brian Hansberry, class of 1995. Swimming, athlete and coach. Four-time Gannett first team at White Plains High School. Con Ed Award winner, 1995. Tigers record holder in 200 and 500 freestyle. Set Section 1 500-meter record. Section 1 champ in 200 and 500 free in both the 1994 and 1995. High school All-American. 4 times qualifier New York State Swim Championships. Undefeated in 500 free in dual meets. Competed in both U.S. Junior and Senior Nationals. Multiple medalist. Ranked top 50 worldwide in 400, 800, 1500 meter freestyle between 1994 and 1996. 3-year letter winner at the University of Florida, all conference 1996 to 1998. Coaching includes Badgers, Iona College, Bronxville Field Club, many others. It's my honor to induct, or to say that he is inducted into the 2018 White Plains High School Sports Hall of Fame, Brian Hansberry.
Hi, everyone. I can't tell you what an honor this is to be inducted with my class. Very especially also Adams family. Not only was a student of Sue Adams, but a coach of Kim Adams, so it's a very special night. I'd like to start off by congratulating everyone and thanking Coach Patty Gilmartin. So my experience with Patty Gilmartin was amazing. For being brought down the first time in the pool by a fellow teammate, Elo Comfort, and being introduced to Patty Gilmartin. And she was very firm, very tough, and it made an impact. But it made an impact that I wanted to swim for her for 4 years. She made it a fun, exciting 4 years, enjoyable. She made it every day a challenge. Now, I think I was a challenge to her every day as well. So over 4 years, I probably tormented and challenged her in the pool. Brian, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I did it. I probably did it my way, just to torture her. But I did have a great experience with Coach Patty, as did my 4 siblings. So not only did she get to coach me, she got to coach my brother Thomas, my sister Katie, my brother Brennan, and my brother Daniel here. You know, and it was I think that's an accolade right there. You survived the 5 of us really. Coach Patty, your coaching, your ability to guide me through the 4 years of high school and athletics and support me after high school athletics played a big role in who I am today as a former athlete and a coach. I've coached numerous college levels, Iona College, currently at Purchase College. I've coached age group swimming probably about 15 years now. So coaching age group swimming has been a great experience for me, and I've gone to a lot of the lessons I learned with Patty Gilmartin and how to deal with athletes. To my family, my parents, Brian and Tui, you supported me through so much of my career of swimming. The beginning was not always that great. The athlete that we see at the end was not the athlete we saw in the beginning. You know, my dad's favorite line that I quote all the time, you never needed to buy a heat sheet because if it was a 6-lane pool, Brian was in heat 1, lane 6, which is probably the worst place to be. And you know, if it was 8 lanes, heat 1, lane 8. But they drove me everywhere. They drove me to meets in Poughkeepsie, Newburgh, practices at 5 in the morning. They truly supported me throughout the whole career. And I thank them very much. My siblings were in that car as well, being tortured, being driven to Newburgh and Poughkeepsie. I thank them as much as well, too. In attendance, I have many family members, aunts, uncles. I think they were with me the journey as well. They're always there for me at swim meets locally. Some are far away. So, I've had uncles and aunts come to California and also to Seattle. If we were close by, they made their way to the meets. A big thanks to my biggest supporter, though, my wife, Alice. I married a tiger, just a Mamaroneck tiger, so don't hold it against me. My love of swimming has really followed into my children, Both Jack and Connor love the water. So, I think they're actually better than I was at age 14 probably. But they enjoy it. They've made an experience coaching and seeing them enjoy it, taking the lessons I learned from Patty Gilmartin. Yeah, you did. And not, a side note, Kim already mentioned it, but great job at sectionals last night. 3 full relays, 2 individual qualifiers in 2 events, and a diver going to New York State Championships. Patty, congratulations. It's nice to see the program continue to grow, continue to succeed, and that Patty's still at the helm of it. Congratulations to my fellow inductees tonight. I congratulate you on your endeavors, and I thank you very much.
Our next inductee is Greg Herzog, class of 1979 for cross-country, indoor, and outdoor track. I'm going to break this into 2 parts. His high school record. Greg is still a school record holder in 8 events, 38 years and counting. In indoor track, his 1,500 meter time of 3:56.6 is still the 4th best all-time in Section 1, and his mile time of 4:13.3 is the same, 4th best in Section 1 history. His mile time of 4:10.5 was the Laux Games meet record for 34 years and is still the 3rd best in Laux Games history. It is also still the 2nd best in Westchester County history. Greg was the anchor leg for the 4x800 meter relay team that was Section 1 champions 3 straight years, 1977 through 1979. In 1978, Greg was the Section 1 champion in cross country and went on to finish 2nd in the state championships. He then went on to college, where he started both at Auburn University and the University of Maryland. While at Auburn, he earned all SEC honors in both cross country and track. He did the same at Maryland, where he earned all ACC honors in both. He is still on the top 10 list at both Auburn and Maryland in 5 events. In 1983, the year after he graduated from Maryland, he broke the 4-minute mile and was ranked 30th in the world. He became one of 420 Americans who have broken the 4-minute barrier since Roger Bannister first did it in 1954. Today, Greg is the founder of Herzog Body Tech and has been a pioneer in the health and fitness business for over 2 decades. He has been recognized as one of America's top 100 personal trainers. He has been a celebrity trainer to Naomi Campbell, Harvey Keitel, and Neil Sedaka, to name just a few. I am extremely honored to present Greg Herzog for induction into the White Plains Athletics Hall of Fame.
I just want to take care of some routine business first. Fred, I've got your socks. Now, please turn down the heat. Fred said to be brief, so I didn't prepare anything, so thank you and good night. What a group of inductees, huh? Wow. I mean, the people here tonight, and then other people like Otis Hill used to look up at that board, 1966, Larry James, Jay Saldy, Artie Monk, John Mesmer, who's here tonight. Wow. This all started at a school called Highlands Elementary School for me, where you could go to school, was Highlands Junior High School, where you go to school for 10 years. And God rest both of their souls, Bob Smith and Ed Zemmel, who were so profound in starting that foundation for me for track and field and my belief system. Bob taught me never to look back during a race. I never did. Don't wear black socks when you play an athletic event because it could bleed into your veins and you could die. and that you could wear shorts at the Thanksgiving Day football game and not be cold as long as you had a good top on. And Ed, what can we say about Ed? I mean, he God, we miss him. We love you. Everybody here knows how amazing he is, and people like Craig Masbach and Hal Masbach and Stephen Casarella, what they've contributed to White Plains and to me. George DeMarco, who's here tonight, who has been a surrogate brother, mentor, and friend, and followed me through my journey. And so many of these people, as I've said, these coaches and these teammates, Tim Donahoe, who's here tonight, John Mesmer, who've been like family to me. And of course, you've got to, the White Plains High School track and field program with Nick and Fred, all that they've done, the countless hours that these guys put in, you don't really realize it till later, how amazing these people are. I mean, it gives us faith in difficult times like now. I consider them surrogate parents and mentors, and I thank White Plains High School and the community and everybody that has contributed in that. And I also have to thank my guidance counselor, Mr. Stanley, who said that I wasn't going to go to a Division I school. He was right. I went to 2. I was angry with him at the time. And I also want to thank Melrose and at Auburn, God rest his soul, just recently passed away, that stopped believing in me when I went down to the Houston clinic. And when like the assistant yells in a high-pitched voice, "Dr. Houston, get in here and take a look at this." Well, they never told me really what was going on with my knees, but then shortly after I wasn't running for Auburn, and then because of the belief and what Bob Smith and Ed Zemmel and Highlands Junior High School and Nick and Fred, that's your name, right? What they instilled in me, I wanted to continue to run, even though I didn't know if I was going to be able to run. And I actually transferred to the University of Maryland with 1 year of eligibility left. And thank you, Charles Torpy, for believing in me. And he brought me down to Jim Christensen, the director of admissions, and with Stan Pitts, and I didn't get in. And I was walking around, and I was going to go to night school and lose half my credits to go to Maryland to continue to run because of people like Nick and Fred and Ed and Bob and this White Plains program and belief system that they instilled in me. I went back down to Jim Christensen. I don't know how I did that. When you're young, you're stupid. I went back down and I sat down with him, and he said, "Joe Namath sat here." We didn't let him in. Sugar Ray Leonard has sat over there. We let him in. "You think you could make it here?" I said, "Yes, sir." I graduated from the University of Maryland. I ran sub 4 minutes for a mile that year. And so I thank Jim Christensen for that, and Charlie Torpy. It didn't stop there. When I turned 30 a couple of years ago, I was struggling with some health issues, and I wanted to work with a friend of mine, Mike Hansen, with doing some physical therapy work. And he said, "You got to see Dr. Alchek on the Hill at HSS." I said, "Okay, no problem." I went in. I said, "Get ready for a world record." He put my x-rays up, and he said, if I didn't see you sitting over there, I'd say these are x-rays of someone who can't walk. I said, "Doc, I run, I bike, I hike. I'm active." He says, "Well, I could clean that bent leg of yours out, but other than that, I wouldn't do double knee replacement because you can walk." So I became a student and a researcher of structural functional fitness, and I trademarked something called osteopathic fitness to not only help myself, but to help others function through balance and stability and strength. And that led me to develop an artificial intelligence program for performance and change that I look forward to sharing with the world. And all of this is because of White Plains High School, Nick and Fred, Bob Smith, Ed Zemmel, and the foundation that they laid for me. And this is to you guys. Thank you. And I'm sorry I said I was going to be brief. Good night.
Our next inductee is Mark Johnson, class of 1981, football, wrestling, track and field. On the football team, he played both offense and defense and was a 2-year starter and made all-county first team. He was on the undefeated 1979 Section 1 championship team. In wrestling, he was 2-time Section 1 heavyweight champion. He also made all-county twice and was all-league and all-conference. He was a key member of the 1980 Section 1 championship wrestling team, coached by George Perry. Later 2 years on the track team in both the shot put and discus. He then went on to West Point, where he wrestled for all 4 years. He was named All-Army in wrestling while serving in the Army. He was awarded the Bronze Star for heroism in Iraq during Desert Storm 1, as well as receiving 11 other medals while serving in the Army. Before I bring you up here, Mark, I just want to thank you for your service. And I am very honored to present Mark Johnson for induction into the White Plains Athletics Hall of Fame.
My wife told me to keep this short and sweet. Like any husband, I'm not going to listen to her. Hi, baby. I received a text from a previous inductee to the White Plains Athletic Hall of Fame, John Mesmer, who many of you know. If you don't know him, hi, John. You've probably heard him a few times tonight. I wasn't able to attend his Hall of Fame induction last year into this prestigious group, but I had heard from many how he was moved to be included and held this honor in high esteem. This year, I myself was excited, and I have to say I was beyond excited upon hearing of being so awarded. It was really a culmination of all the warm feelings and happy memories that I've had about my time at White Plains High School, at Highlands High School, and my time in White Plains. I was really on cloud 9 when I heard about it, and I'm not too proud to say I thumped my chest just a few times with pride. However, I was quickly able to maintain a suitable level of humility when I received a text from John Mesmer again regarding being inducted, and that text said simply, "I guess the Hall of Fame isn't as illustrious as I thought." All evidence to the contrary tonight, as I am awed by the accomplishments of those honored in this outstanding White Plains Hall of Fame class. I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame and those members for this obviously prestigious honor. I'm truly humbled. I'd like to thank all those who contributed to helping me develop academically and athletically. This list is much too long to go over here, but I'll try. Just kidding. First of all, I'd like to thank my parents, my mother Shirley and my dad Wayne. I've wrestled in a lot of gyms across the country, outside of the country, and had a lot of matches, and my mom came to as many as she could. I invited her to the ones that I knew I was going to win championships, and she never saw a single match. When I was about to go on the mat, she would leave the room. She was afraid that I'd get hurt. And she would come back in and say, "How'd you do?" My dad, Wayne, we had a little VW Bug back in the 70s. And wherever I was wrestling, he would get up early in the morning and he would drive me out to Binghamton or Syracuse or wherever we were going for a freestyle or Greco-Roman match, and he would sit dutifully in the stands, wait hours upon hours until I could get up and wrestle, and hopefully it would be a 30-second match and I'd toss somebody on their back and pin, and then he'd wait more hours, and he did it with honor, and he did it with the love of a father. I'd also like to thank my football coaches, all of them, through the Bernies. There's John back there. We went 0-8 when I was on the Bernies. They've been successful every year except the year that I got there. So it's not your fault. I take that. All my coaches, Coach Peck, Pellerito, Coach Pinero, Coach Winterstein, who was, I thought, a genius at running a football team and making people feel bigger than they actually were. And Coach Linnell, who if he walked through the door, I'd still be scared of him. And Coach Perry, who coached me in both football and wrestling and gave me the knowledge that I could always do better than what I thought I could. These people believed in me, gave me the opportunity to succeed on the field of play, and they also gave me a boot in the pants when it was necessary. These coaches instilled in me the toughness to persevere, to prepare well, and to not take things personally. And when they gave me my first challenge of leadership in my life as captain of the football team, I'm not sure I really wanted it. The previous 2 years, and when I was in junior varsity and as a junior on an undefeated, untied 10-0 Section 1 championship football team, football seemed very easy. Winning was natural. We hadn't been beaten in 18 games. And in 1980, when I was the captain, we lost our first 2 games. Even the news reports said, "What's wrong with White Plains High School?" There were people on the team who did not want to persevere, but we knew together as a team we could do something very, very special. From that point on, we defeated every league opponent until a final game with New Rochelle, which was the #1 team in the state. One single play and the third play from scrimmage of the game, a pass play by New Rochelle, gave them the edge. They defeated us 6-0. We were defeated but unbowed. That was a great team to be able to come back from losing after so much winning. The disappointments of close defeats gave all of us the opportunity to understand that how we respond to defeat was just as important as the victories that might have eluded us. I found that the 2-a-day football practices our coaches put us through, the running programs on Monday, running hills, and the demand of perfection in execution was the perfect preparation for going to the United States Military Academy and trying to make it through Beast Barracks. I think Coach Linnell would have been very comfortable as a leader at West Point. He had no problem demanding excellence. Being a youth football coach myself now lets me know how difficult it is to be both tough and caring when preparing your young charges for both games, the game of football and the game of life. Just as an aside, I want to have a kind of a personal anecdote. I was a 2-time Section 1 champion in wrestling. I'd like to think I was pretty good my senior year. But not before I went through a sophomore year where I did not win a single match I wrestled. I won forfeits, But I would go on the mat against people and do exceptionally well for a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes. And then, shazam. Somebody tossed me on my back and I would lose. An entire year. In fact, that gave me a nickname, Shazam. I'd be doing pretty well, and then I would hear John say, Shazam, and I'd be on my back. But it didn't defeat me. Losing is part of winning. It makes it that much sweeter when you're able to work yourself into a position where you can be winning. I'd like to specifically mention Coach Perry. Like I said, he was my varsity football coach and my wrestling coach. And he was very successful in both arenas. When I was a junior, the first match we wrestled, we lost to Arlington. But after that, Coach Perry's enthusiasm drove us. He made us respond to a defeat by saying, hey, they don't believe you can do it. Make them believe. Make them believe became our motto for that team. We went on to 14 straight dual meet victories. We won league, conference, and the section championship the first time in about 20 years. We had several section champions, individual champions that years too. The response to defeat, not the defeat, was the hallmark of our year. And it was all due to Coach Perry. So, Coach Perry, I want to say thank you. Many of you may not realize that Coach Perry never wrestled. I was competing in a Section 1, or in a tournament, and the Section 1 coach pointed that out to me. Your coach never wrestled. How could someone who has never wrestled competitively coach you to be successful? And the answer I found was this. He actually learned it. He dedicated the time and effort to learn to coach wrestling and not just wrestle. And that is a far more difficult task than teaching something you already know. I've tried to coach wrestling, and having been a wrestler, and it's very difficult. And he did a great, great job of it. Sometimes the best coaching and the best leadership is being able to show the path of success, even though you might never have walked that path. My athletic life at White Plains High School set the table for the rest of my life. It showed me the value of preparation, patience, teamwork, and delayed gratification. That's a mention back to the sophomore year. That success in life is earned through hard work and resilience, often over much time, sweat, and effort, before it's redeemed. These lessons I applied to my academics at West Point, and later on as an Army officer and a wrestler for the United States Army. And often the success or the reward isn't the championship that we've sought, or coming out as a victor in a ball game, or the records that are set. The true rewards are more subtle, less acknowledged during the exuberance of our youth, and more valued as our years progress, when we become less fleet of foot, more stout of girth, and there are fewer years in front of us than we've put behind. I learned as an offensive and defensive lineman that glory isn't just scoring with the football. The glory of your success was how you contributed to the overall team's success, and how you responded to defeat without being defeated, or let a loss dampen one's enthusiasm to continue on. I used that quite a bit in the military when I thought it was dark and I was tired and I did not want to persevere. but I did. I'd like to share just one quick story about the memories that I got, not from a win or a loss in a sport, but just a connection. I was wrestling in a tournament with Coach Perry and the rest of the White Plains team, and if you know anything about wrestling, it involves weight loss. Happily, I was a heavyweight, didn't have to worry about weight loss too much, but my friend John Mesmer did. And of course, back in those days, you put on the rubber suit and the coats and everything, and you would run to lose weight for a weigh-in the next day. Being a good teammate, I helped John do that. I would tell him to do 20 push-ups and 20 sit-ups and jumping jacks in the sauna, just really getting a good sweat going. Then we would weigh him on one of those scales, and I would set it, and John would get over there, and I'd say, "You're really, really close, okay? Just put your stuff back on." John's father, Joe Mesmer, was there. He was in the stands. So when I'm having John run around the gym, I'd sit by his father, and he'd say, "Is John close? It's been like an hour or two." And I said, "Yeah, he's already made it. I'm just having fun with him now." The rewards I spoke of before are the sharing of these struggles, the preparation for sport and the preparation for life, the victories and the defeats, and the ability to come back from defeat. These memories create and cement the bonds of friendship with teammates, with coaches, with parents, and with the fans. The rewards truly are the memories that I have. Memories now that, however fleeting, can take me back to me and anyone in their prime when we were invincible of mind, unbeatable of heart, and indefatigable in body and spirit. These memories take me back to touch the sights, the smells, the sounds, and the hopefulness of my past youth. And I see everyone again in their youth. And I smile a grateful smile that acknowledges how fortunate I was, to grow up in White Plains, New York, and be granted the gifts of being counted as a White Plains Tiger among you. Thank you so much.
Before I introduce Sean, I just want to correct something that Greg Herzog said when he asked how long should he speak. I told him, "Greg, you ran 4:10.5 in high school. See if you can beat it." All right. Our next inductee, Sean Kilpatrick, class of 2008, one of the best basketball players we've ever had here. 3-year varsity starter for the Tigers from 2005 to 2008. The team during those years was 52-16. He led the team in scoring all 3 years, led White Plains High School to the 2007 Section 1 runner-up. Had a career average of 19 points per game in high school, 25.6 in senior season. Scored 1,289 career points, second most in school history, and then had 4 standout seasons at the University of Cincinnati, where he averaged 20.7 points as a senior for the 27-7 Bearcats. Named All-Conference 3-time and was first-team All-American as a senior. Played for 6 teams in the NBA from 2014 to 18, prolific shooting guard. He represented the U.S. in 2013 at the Summer University Games in Russia. He had trouble beating me, though, in the classroom when we were shooting baskets in the garbage can, but that's a whole different story. The one and only Sean Kilpatrick.
Fred actually beat me a lot in those games. First and foremost, I would like to thank God for allowing me and allowing the rest of the inductees today to be honored tonight. I'm proud and honored to be a part of an amazing group like this, an amazing group of athletes. I want to thank my fiance, my daughter, who she's probably the loudest here. She's actually happy for everyone. That's why she's going crazy like that. My sister, my stepdad, my grandmother, my grandfather for being here today to celebrate this special event with me. I want to thank the board for thinking about me when this topic was brought up upon being a part of this big historic day. Tonight, this honor that I'm receiving belongs to my family, my coaches, White Plains High School, the city of White Plains, and most importantly, my teammates. I want to thank Coach Mayfield for not only being a mentor towards me, but for always believing in me on and off the court. You always made sure that I took no shortcuts when it came to this game. Always made sure that I did everything at 100%, and that was something that has always carried on into my career now. You helped me become a better leader, but most importantly, helped me become a better person. I want to thank my mom for always being there for me. When I thought about giving up and quitting, you always made me realize that I had a special gift and always gave me the courage to continue to keep inspiring not only my younger siblings, but the youth that was always watching me as well. I want to thank the fans here. Not only did you make things hard for teams when they did come into our gym, you made it an honor to call it the Tigers Den. Thanks for always making things special here for me and my teammates. No matter where I am in the world, I always take great pride in where I come from. I take a lot of pride in what I represent and who I represent, and I represent my family, and not only that, but the White Plains High School. White Plains High School has helped me a lot and shaped me into the man that I am today. Please, may God continue to keep blessing everyone in this room, and not only that, but your families as well. Thank you.
He was the leader of the semi-pro White Plains Bears in 1936, playing both quarterback and running back. Unfortunately, Tony passed away many years ago, and we could not find any living members of his family, so there's been no one here to represent Tony. However, in 2015, we did the same thing to Dr. Parker, who was a school doctor for the district, and Parker Stadium at Highlands is named after him. And for some reason, his great-granddaughter found out about this and contacted Chuck and came the next year to accept the plaque for her great-grandfather. So let's hope that next year somebody in the Mazziotti family will hear about this and come and receive the plaque in honor of Tony Mazziotti. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Dennis Strawberry Morgan, class of 1970. Football, indoor track, and baseball. Two-way player in high school in terms of football, running back and cornerback. Standout runner as a senior in 1969, 29 tackles, 2 interceptions on defense. Set national high school indoor track record of 4.3 seconds in the 40-yard dash. I think I was in that race watching him from behind. 4-year starter in college football at Bradley, then Western Illinois. Star running back and returner for 3 seasons at WIU. All-American as a junior in 1972. Selected by the Dallas Cowboys in 1974 and played in 1975 for Philadelphia. He was a return specialist. Tied national football record with a 98-yard touchdown punt return in 1974. Served in the U.S. Army following pro football. Accepting for a good friend of mine, Dennis, is his brother, Charles Morgan. Congratulations.
Envelope, please. The envelope, please. I'm sorry, I always wanted to do that. Okay. This is a little hard for me because of my love and relationship with my brother. But I'm truly honored to stand here this evening and receive this award on behalf of my brother. I want to thank the committee for acknowledging my brother and all his accomplishments. I want to thank my beautiful daughter who's here this evening, Alicia. I want to thank the dog pound over here, the brothers that grew up with us and played with us. And I want to thank God for giving me a beautiful, wonderful brother that I had the opportunity to grow up with and to experience his success. Because when he got drafted, we all got drafted. And every Sunday when he ran out on that football field, we ran out there with him. And we sat around in living rooms throughout White Plains, various people's house, and we watched him play. And we were out there with him. I want to thank all of the inductees this year. This is truly a wonderful class of athletes. Let's give them all a hand. I want to thank Coach Perry and Coach Winterstein on behalf of my brother, because we all played on the same 1968-69 undefeated football team, and there's some other people in here this evening. Greg Drummond that played on that squad, McGovern. I get kind of like deja vu being here. I asked where the bathroom was. They told me down the hall. And when I went in that bathroom, I started getting chills. And I realized that's the bathroom they caught me smoking in back when I was in school. I keep looking over my left shoulder, because that's Dan Woodard, and I can remember running down the halls of this school and him chasing me. And he was bow-legged and fast. You couldn't outrun Dan Woodard. My brother Dennis was much more than just an outstanding athlete. He was just a good human being. He was a giver. He had a kind heart. He was very generous. Back in the 70s, being a 10th round draft pick, he didn't make a lot of money. But with his bonus money, he bought me a car. A Buick LeSabre. And he bought my parents furniture for our house. We already had a house, so he couldn't buy us a house. Plus, he didn't make that much. But he at least filled the house with new furniture. He gave tickets away to games. He gave money. He gave to charity. And we understand his accomplishments and all that stuff. After football, he told me he was going to join the Army, and I said, really? He said, if God blessed me with the ability to play football, then I'm going to use those same abilities to serve this country. And he went on and served this country in the United States Army. But I think the last gift he gave was probably his biggest gift. We were at the Giants Cowboy game because of his record with the Cowboys over a period of time. We always got free tickets to the Giants Cowboy game. They honored my brother. That Cowboys is a good organization. I know some of you Giants fans are squinching at me, but he had a massive heart attack and died. But when we got to the hospital, it was already scripted that his eyes would go to a needy person. So there's a 14-year-old boy in Newark that every time he opens his eyes, he can see because of my brother's eyes. So my brother's kindness lives on. Thank you.
Our next inductee is George Rooks Jr., who we all call Duffy. Class of 1988, football, wrestling, track and field. Duffy is going to join his father, George Rooks Sr., who was a 2016 Hall of Fame inductee. He played defensive tackle for White Plains High School, where he made all-county, all-section, and all-state first team. He was named MVP in the Section 1 Bowl game in 1987. In 1987, he was named All-American by Parade Magazine and USA Today. He went on to Syracuse, where he was a 4-year starting defensive lineman from 1988 to 1991, where he led the team in tackles and sacks for multiple seasons. He was named Big East Co-Defensive Player of the Year as a senior. In 1992, he was drafted by the New York Giants, and in 1994, he played for the Miami Dolphins. I am honored to present George Duffy Rooks Jr. for induction into the White Plains High School Athletics Hall of Fame.
I put together several speeches that I was going to talk about today, but my journey is a little bit different. And I want to discuss that with you today and share that with you. As you see on the accolades you see there, and I look at that and I see a young man who had a severe fear of failure, that my goal was not to have my mother pay for college. And I'll talk about that real quick with you. Growing up as a son of George Duffy Rooks Sr., captain of the police department, I was a true White Plains kid. I was a young man at an early age, and the police department was my playground. And we have some ex-police officers here. They can tell you I was a pain in the butt walking around. But that life that I had, I thought was amazing, changed in 1984. At that time, I lost my father. And what would I do? What would I become without the White Plains backing me? You see, I entered high school that year. My sister entered college. And I was lost. I was a kid that had a little bit of a learning disability, a little bit of a loner, introvert, and I was trying to figure out myself. A guy by the name of Guy Matthews saw that, took me under his wing. He helped me tie my first tie. He talked to me about everything from the birds and bees to what about life after football, life after whatever, to make sure you're a good student, make sure you're a good person, make sure you're a good role model. Make sure you're George Duffy Rooks and you represent the name like your father did. See, those are the people that come into your life that you need. So with that, I say thank you, Guy Matthews. You were there when I needed you. Then you have, my wife over there who's put up with me for almost 30 plus years. Either God bless her or God cursed her, one of the two. And had 4 beautiful kids. And who would ever known that a guy from White Plains, New York, would have a daughter who graduated from Harvard University, have another daughter graduating from Newhouse School, the best communication school in the country, have 2 sons, one I named after my father. His name is George Duffy Choo Choo Rooks III. And then I named my second son, Bryce Barkster Rooks, after my father-in-law. 2 men who put their stamp on my life. So thank you, family. You were there when I needed you. But I'm going to talk a little bit today about my 2 heroes, my 2 idols. One is my mother, Vivian Rooks. I call her the Iron Horse. She may not like the nickname, but I'll tell you why. At 13 years old, my sister's away to college, other sisters graduated, she's moved out, it's me and my mom in the house. Now, in that time period, I didn't know if we'll be able to afford the house, how is she going to send my sister to college, how is she going to pay for med school, what is she going to do? I used to hear her cry at night, pray to God, pray to my dad, look over her. See, people don't know that. I've never seen a lady that strong in my life. She never bent, never said no, always pulled through, always found a way, and always came to all my games, supported me for everything. From birth to death, she was there, and she's always there. And she's sitting there in the audience right now. Thank you for that. But then there's my father, who many of you in the audience have known him longer than I've known him in the physical being. But he left an impression on me that lasts forever. You see, my father was a very direct man, and those of you who know him know that very well. I knew things from at an early age. He wanted to imprint on me his life lessons, his life teachings, what he's become, what he was, at a very early age in life. So when he left, I lost my hero, my idol, the person who I wanted to emulate as a young man. But what he did do, he left the city of White Plains with people, with his memories, his experiences, as he walked around and talked to people as a captain of the police department. So as I was growing up, they reminded me all day, every day, of what he stood for and what he was. So again, I look at that sheet and I say, my one goal in life was not to have my mother play for college, because I knew that was my ticket to providing a better life for my kids. And my kids tell you that the only goal I have for them and for myself is to make sure they're better than I. All the material things, all the things that I've accomplished in life, what really matters is setting your family and pushing them forward. So again, I really appreciate all the honors, all the accolades, and the support you've given me to put me a part of this club. It's fantastic. But the biggest honor is I get to share this with my father. With that being said, thank you. Thank you to all my coaches who are here.
Charles Chuck Young, class of 1951. Football, basketball, track and field. Two-way starter for the Tigers from 1949 to 1950. Team was undefeated as a senior. Scored 21 high school touchdowns, 15 of those rushing. Also threw for 3 touchdowns. All-county first team, all-metropolitan player of the year in 1950. Varsity starter for 2 years in basketball, known for his tenacious defense. Shot put specialist in the springtime, throwing over 50 feet. Star wide receiver for 4 years from 51 to 1954 at Alfred University, when the team was a remarkable 23-4 with 2 ties. Later in life, he became a high school principal here in Westchester County. And we're honored to have his son, Danny Young, here to take the honor for his father, Charles Chuck Young.
Giving honor to God, I'm honored and humbled to be here on behalf of my father, Charles Young. My father was a great man who cared not about his family, but about everyone he could help. The stories told to my sister Sandy, next to me, and I about my father have always amazed and inspired me. I often wondered how one person could have achieved greatness in so many different sports. But being a football coach, a wrestling coach, and a teacher took a lot of time and energy, but he never complained and never neglected us. I'm proud to be a member of the Young family, and I have a lot of great examples to look up to. Following in the footsteps of the great athletes in the Young family has not been an easy task. Charles Young, Ted Young of Theodore Young Community Center, Scotty and Earl Leach, Barry Young, Amy and Laurie Monroe are just some of the talented athletes I've either had the opportunity to watch in person or to hear about growing up. Going to visit my cousin Scotty Leach at Ohio State University was one of the main factors that made me want to finish high school and graduate college. On behalf of my mother, Natalie Young, my sister Sandy, my wife Lisa, and the rest of the Young family, I would like to thank the executive committee for the honor to be here and represent my father, Charles Young, for his induction into the White Plains High School Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Our last inductee, we saved it for the big fella. All right. The man in the center, Mr. Jermaine Young, class of 1994. You can You can see why I wanted him to throw the shot put in the discus. Can I read something about you? Okay, all right. Captain and senior center who led the Tigers to the 1994 New York State Championship. First state title in White Plains High School history. Named New York State Public High School Athletic Association Tournament MVP. Had 20 points, 17 rebounds, and a 65-60 title win over West Genesee. All county, all section, Journal News, 1993 to 1994 Player of the Year. Scored 552 points as a senior, 775 points in 2 years for the Tigers. Had 961 points, 510 rebounds in 4 seasons at Niagara University. Named all conference as a senior, averaging 12.4 points, 6 rebounds, played professionally for 8 years in Europe, role model who works professionally with young people in his hometown, and was one of the few athletes here who scared the living daylights out of me when he would walk out of the locker room. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Jermaine Young.
First of all, let me thank everybody for coming out tonight. Class of 2018, beautiful group, the Adams, the husband Bob. Wouldn't give me any calls in college. What's going on? Calling fouls on me. We from White Plains. All right. I'm gonna let it slide today. SK, beautiful job. Everybody, listen, I don't stand here without the help of everybody here, right? So there were guys before me, there's guys after me. I was blessed enough, my mother and father, Pat and Alvin, to allow me to concentrate on sports. Only goal, get your education, get your degree. All the other pressures, they kept away from me. Everybody doesn't get that situation. So for me to be here today is a blessing. When I first got the call from Chuck, I was driving in the car. I heard the voicemail. He was saying congratulations. And the feelings that went through my body, you can't explain. Because I still remember going to county center games in 7th grade and watching the varsity play and feeling like those guys are rock stars. Could I ever get there? Could I be like that? So, you know, as you're coming up, you have your doubts. 1993, it was the spring, end of the school year. This man came into my life, Coach Spencer Mayfield. Changed everything. Because that year after 93, we didn't know where we were going. Team was in flux, just lost our coach. We were confused on what the future was going to bring. Coach Mayfield came in, took me by the side, motivation, helped me with everything, college, anything I wanted, any information from this day, to this day. When I text him to this day, Coach, nothing else. Coach, what's going on? Coach, what's going on? That's the relationship that we have. That's 25 years in the making. So for me up here, I'm doing it for all the guys that were on my team. John Woodbury, Ross Corley, Shanti and Justin McGovern, Michael Craver, Mark Sampona, Jarek Harris, Michael Summers, Kenyatta Harrison. If I'm forgetting you, I'm sorry. I didn't want to prepare a speech. I wanted it to come just from here. So when you know me, it came from here. I played with my heart. I don't think I was the greatest athlete, but I played hard. I played for that name on the front of my shirt, White Plains. When you do that, you're always going to be successful. You're always going to be successful. So the last shout out I want to give is to my baby girl. Now we take the hoop in the living room and I say, dunk it for daddy. Now, the concentration is only there for about 2 to 3 seconds, but we're working on it. She's only 3. So we're going to keep motivating her. Hopefully she's up here one day. Blessings to everybody again. Enjoy your cake, your coffee. Let's close this night off right. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have one more round of applause for all of our inductees.